The fastest way to punish a black professional for being excellent is to call his success a violation the moment other people start choosing him on purpose. Andre Whitaker had been a trainer at Elevation Fitness for 14 months when the gym manager decided to accuse him of stealing clients in front of the entire staff. Not underperforming, not breaking policy, not missing sessions, stealing clients, which was a strange way to describe what had actually happened, because the truth was simpler and more irritating to the wrong kind of person. Andre was the best trainer in the building, clients knew it, and they were following results. Before we get into it, tell me where you're watching from today. And if you enjoy stories about dignity, receipts, and people getting exposed by their own arrogance, subscribe and stay with me. Elevation Fitness sat in a polished retail complex on the north side of the city, all smoked glass, branded towels, mirrored walls, and expensive lighting designed to make ordinary strength feel upscale. It was not a hardcore gym. It was the kind of place people joined because they wanted to say they had a trainer, a wellness plan, and somewhere to post filtered treadmill selfies after work. There was a juice bar in the lobby, eucalyptus-scented towels in the locker rooms, and a wall-sized slogan near the free weights that read, "Commit to your best self" in brushed silver letters. Andre Whitaker committed for real. He was 34, built like someone who had earned every pound of muscle without making it his whole personality. Calm in the way serious men often are, because they don't waste energy performing authority. He had grown up in a military family, played college football until a knee injury ended that path, then rebuilt his life through rehab science, certification work, and years of training people who came to him, broken, embarrassed, impatient, or scared. He was good at bodies but better with people. He listened. He watched how they moved. He corrected without humiliating. He pushed hard without making discipline feel like punishment. Clients loved him because he got results. Management loved him when those results increased revenue, at least until the results started moving too many people in his direction. The manager's name was Brent Holloway, white, 46, tan in a way that suggested both money and vanity, perfect polo shirts with the gym logo embroidered on the chest, teeth too bright, voice too smooth. Brent had once been a decent regional sales rep and had somehow turned that into management by mastering the corporate art of sounding motivational while leaving other people to do the actual work. He liked energy. He liked synergy. He liked standing near check-in desks and saying things like, "We're building community here," while trainers cleaned up scheduling disasters and fixed member complaints he never bothered to understand. Most of all, Brent liked control, and Andre had started quietly disrupting it. At Elevation, new personal training clients were supposed to be assigned through a central lead system. Prospects met with membership staff, got assessed, and were paired with trainers based on availability, package tier, and what Brent liked to call fit. In practice, that meant the white trainers Brent socialized with most often got the wealthier clients, the executives, the cosmetic goal members, the people likely to renew for 6 months and buy supplements on the way out. Andre got the harder cases, weight loss clients with medical complications, older clients with mobility issues, members coming back from injury, people who were intimidated by fitness culture, which in Brent's language often meant members he assumed would require more patience and make less money. Andre took them anyway. And then something inconvenient happened. They succeeded. Mrs. Karen Doyle, 58, down 32 pounds and off 2 blood pressure medications. Marcus Hill, post-surgery knee recovery, jogging again after 8 months. Jasmine Reed, who came in crying after a humiliating boot camp elsewhere, and 3 months later was deadlifting more than she thought possible. A retired judge named Leon Baxter, who told anyone who would listen that Andre understands the difference between pain and damage. Word spread. It always does when excellence is real enough to travel without marketing. Members started asking for Andre by name, then requesting him outright, then switching to him. Not because he flirted, not because he played politics, because they watched what happened to people who worked with him and wanted the same thing. Brent noticed the shift around month 9. At first, he tried to frame it as a compliment. "Man, you've got a good thing going," he told Andre one evening near the turf area, smiling like a man already planning the way he would use that sentence later. "Just make sure you're not overstepping with house leads." Andre, wiping down kettlebells after a session, glanced at him. I train the people assigned to me. Brent gave that little laugh managers use when they want to introduce suspicion without responsibility. Yeah, I'm just saying. We don't need trainers shopping the floor. Andre straightened slowly. I don't shop the floor. Brent's smile stayed in place. Good. Then we're aligned. That was the first warning. The second came through other trainers. A white trainer named Tyler Mason mentioned that Brent had started asking odd questions in management huddles. Was Andre over-networking? Was he creating private loyalty instead of brand loyalty? Did clients understand the company-assigned training relationships, not individual personalities? The wording told Andre exactly where Brent's mind had gone. He did not see member choice as success. He saw it as loss of ownership. Because in Brent's world, clients were inventory first, people second, and Black excellence was welcome right until it started rearranging who got access to the most profitable rooms. Andre kept his head down and his documentation clean. That part mattered. Every signed intake, every trainer reassignment request, every email from clients specifically asking to move to his schedule, every front desk note confirming member preference, every contract clause explaining that clients could request reassignment if unsatisfied with the original fit. He saved everything, not because he expected a public accusation, because he knew men like Brent liked informal power, and informal power panics when paper exists. The blow-up came on a Tuesday morning. Monthly performance meeting, all trainers required. Conference room off the cycle studio, protein bars in a bowl no one touched. Whiteboard full of sales numbers. Brent at the front with a tablet and fake enthusiasm. The room held 11 trainers total, 8 white, 2 black, 1 Latina, plus assistant manager Chloe Park, who looked like she already knew something ugly was coming and hated that she was going to witness it. Brent started with the usual nonsense: membership growth, retention goals, package conversion, client engagement. Then he clicked to a slide labeled internal accountability. Andre noticed Tyler look down at the table. That was his third warning. Too late to matter. Brent clasped his hands. I want to address an emerging issue, he said, voice heavy with reluctant leadership. We've had concerns about trainers bypassing assignment protocol and cultivating clients who were not allocated through the proper channels. The room shifted. Everyone knew he was aiming somewhere. Most of them already knew where. Brent sighed as if burdened by fairness. Andre, I'm going to be direct. Several trainers have reported that you've been poaching. Silence. Not ordinary silence. The kind that snaps into a room when a lie arrives wearing official clothes. Andre did not move right away. Across the table, Chloe Park went visibly still. Tyler stared at his notebook. A young white trainer named Erin looked like she wanted to disappear under the floor. Brent kept going because men like him mistake stillness for weakness. We've seen a pattern of members originally assigned elsewhere ending up on your books. That raises concerns. Serious ones. Andre folded his hands on the table. What concerns? Brent blinked, maybe thrown by the calm. Boundary concerns, revenue integrity concerns, team culture concerns. Andre looked at him. You just accused me of poaching. Say what you mean. Brent shifted into polished offense. I mean, clients are ending up with you outside normal assignment flow. That isn't poaching. Brent gave a thin smile. Depends how it happens. There it was. No facts. Just the hope that tone could become evidence. Andre leaned back slightly in his chair. Then explain how it happened. Brent hadn't expected that. He had expected discomfort, maybe defensiveness, maybe anger he could label aggression. Instead, he got a man inviting him to be specific in front of witnesses. Brent tapped his tablet. Over the last quarter, 9 clients changed from other trainers to you. 9 requested reassignment, Andre said. Brent lifted a shoulder. According to who? According to their contracts. That landed softly at first because not everyone in the room understood yet what Andre was doing. Brent laughed. Contracts don't authorize internal solicitation. Andre's eyes didn't leave his face. No, they authorize client choice. Chloe finally looked up. Brent spoke faster now, trying to outrun the shift. This isn't about semantics. This is about respecting allocation structure. Andre nodded once. Then let's read the allocation structure. The room got even quieter. Brent frowned. Excuse me? The contracts, Andre said. The trainer service agreements members sign when they purchase packages. Let's read the reassignment clause aloud. For 1 second, Brent's whole expression changed. Tiny, but fatal. Because he knew there was a clause. He had simply counted on nobody else knowing the exact wording in a room where confidence usually beat memory. Chloe opened her mouth slightly, then closed it again, which told Andre she knew it too. Brent recovered. This isn't necessary. Andre stood. Not abruptly, just decisively. It became necessary when you accused me of theft in front of my co-workers. Brent's face hardened. Sit down. No one else moved. Andre remained standing. Pull up the agreement. Brent looked to Chloe like maybe she would rescue him with procedure. She didn't. Instead, quietly, she said, we do have the standard contract file in the shared drive. That changed the room. Because now this wasn't Andre versus Brent. Now the truth had a folder path. Brent laughed once, strained. We're not going to waste time parsing legal language in a staff meeting, Andre answered immediately. You were willing to waste time accusing me without it. Tyler finally looked up. Aaron turned toward Chloe. The second black trainer in the room, a woman named Rochelle, folded her arms and settled back with the expression of someone who had been waiting her whole life for a certain kind of man to walk himself into public consequences. Chloe reached for the conference room keyboard connected to the wall screen. Brent's voice sharpened. Chloe. She paused. Everyone heard the warning in his tone. Then with very careful neutrality, she said, if there's a compliance concern, we should verify policy. And pulled up the file. The screen changed. Personal training service agreement. Member terms. Brent stood too still now. Andre did not sit. Chloe scrolled. Section 4. Assignment and reassignment. Andre said, read the highlighted clause. Chloe glanced at Brent once, then read, client may request reassignment to a different trainer at any time based on scheduling preference, coaching compatibility, results, or comfort level. Management will honor reassignment when feasible and document request in member file. Nobody in the room said anything. Chloe kept reading because now even she seemed to understand that full daylight was required. Trainer may not solicit members through unauthorized contact outside facility channels. However, member-initiated reassignment does not constitute solicitation. There it was, clear enough for a child, sharp enough to cut a lie in half. Tyler closed his eyes briefly. Aaron looked directly at Brent now. Rochelle actually smiled. Andre finally sat back down. Brent tried to regroup, but the authority was gone from his face. All that remained was a man who had expected public humiliation to move one way. Well, he said, voice thinner, that still doesn't address the pattern. Andre nodded. It does, actually. He reached into his folder and slid a stack of printed pages onto the table. Not one page, not two, a full stack. Those are the 9 reassignment forms, he said, signed by the clients, dated, processed through front desk. 3 include notes from you approving the move. Chloe's head snapped toward Brent. Tyler muttered, damn. Andre continued in the same even tone. 4 mentioned scheduling, 3 mentioned better results, 2 mentioned discomfort with their original trainer. All 9 are member-initiated, none were solicited. Every one of them is documented under the clause we just read aloud. Brent did not touch the papers, because touching them would have meant admitting they were real. Andre looked around the room then, not dramatic, not pleading, just making sure the lie had enough witnesses when it died. I train people, he said. They ask to stay with me because the work works. If that creates a pattern, the pattern is performance. Rochelle let out a soft breath that sounded suspiciously like satisfaction. Brent tried one last pivot. This is getting personal. Andre held his gaze. You made it personal when you decided my success had to be misconduct. No one helped Brent. That mattered too. Because people often do not need to become brave to help a lie survive. They just need to stay quiet. This time, quiet had changed sides. Chloe picked up the top reassignment form, read it, then another. These are all in compliance, she said. A young trainer named Noah, white and usually too eager to please management, spoke before he could stop himself. If the members requested him, how is that poaching? Brent shot him a look, but it was too late. The question had entered the room in plain English. And plain English is dangerous to people hiding behind managerial fog. Tyler, still not looking at Brent, said, "It isn't." That was the crack. Once one person says the obvious, others remember they were thinking it too. Aaron added carefully, "Clients switch all the time. If they prefer a different trainer, that's normal." Rochelle said, "Only feels different now because they're switching in one direction." Nobody looked at her, which was how everyone revealed they understood exactly what she meant. Brent's face tightened. "I'm not going to entertain insinuations." Andre replied, "You were perfectly comfortable entertaining one about me." Chloe closed the contract file and folded her hands. "I think this matter is resolved," she said. Brent stared at her. "Is it?" "Yes," she said, and for the first time all morning, there was actual steel in her voice. "Policy was read, documentation was provided. The accusation doesn't hold." That should have ended it, but pride hates clean endings when it loses. Brent pushed back his chair and stood. "We'll continue this privately." Andre stood too. "No," he said. "We'll finish it here." Brent went still. Andre's voice remained calm, but everyone heard the edge in it now. The edge not of anger, but of a man who had decided enough of his dignity had already been spent. "You accused me publicly. You implied I was unethical. You did it in front of co-workers whose respect affects my ability to do my job. If there's a correction, that happens publicly too." The room was so quiet the hum of the air vent sounded loud. Chloe looked at Brent, then said, "He's right." Brent's jaw flexed. For a moment, Andre almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Because what Brent was really facing now was not embarrassment. It was exposure. The room had just watched policy refuse to cooperate with the story he wanted to tell. And underneath that story was something uglier he could not name without naming himself. Finally, Brent said, "The accusation was premature." Rochelle laughed once out loud. Andre did not. "Try again," he said. Brent looked like a man swallowing glass. "I should not have used the term poaching," he said. Andre waited. Brent hated that. "The clients were reassigned through valid process," he added. Andre waited again. The whole room did now, and at last Brent said the closest thing he was capable of saying to the truth. "Your conduct was within contract." It was not enough. It was also everything he had left. Andre nodded once. "Good." The meeting ended 10 minutes later in the fake normal way wrecked meetings often do. Brent muttered something about quarterly targets and upcoming promotions. No one cared. The protein bars remained untouched. Chairs scraped. People gathered their notebooks with the careful silence of coworkers who knew they had just watched a career-defining mistake and weren't sure yet whose career it would define. As people filed out, Tyler paused beside Andre and said quietly, "For what it's worth, I never thought you were poaching." Andre glanced at him. "But you let him say it." Tyler had no answer. Aaron stopped too. "You handled that better than I would have." Andre gave her a small nod. "That's because I've had more practice than I should." Rochelle came last. She looked at the stack of contracts, then at him, and smiled a little. "Always keep paper on people who confuse themselves with policy." Andre actually laughed at that. "Always." By noon, the whole gym knew, not Brent's version, the real one. The manager accused Andre. Andre had the contracts. They read the clause out loud. Brent got caught. Members sensed it too, even if they didn't know details. Tension travels through buildings that rely on performance. Front desk staff became extra polite. Trainers kept their voices lower near the turf. Chloe spent half the afternoon in Brent's office with the door closed. And when she came out, she looked like someone who had spent an hour professionally describing a disaster to the person who caused it. 3 days later, regional HR visited, not because Elevation had suddenly found a conscience, because public accusations unsupported by policy create liability, and liability is the one language companies never asked to take offline. Andre was interviewed. So was Chloe. So were the trainers in the room. He gave them exactly what he had given Brent: the reassignment forms, the printed contract clause, the approval notes, the dates, the wording. No embellishment, none needed. 2 weeks after that, Brent Holloway was transitioned out of management. The official email called it leadership restructuring. The staff called it what it was. He tried the wrong person with the wrong paperwork. Chloe became interim manager. Within a month, trainer assignment practices were revised. Member choice procedures were posted clearly. Reassignment requests had to be logged with visible approval flow. No more quiet steering. No more pretending policy meant whatever the most comfortable manager wanted it to mean on a given day. And Andre? He kept training. That was the coldest part of the whole story. He did not need revenge. He did not need a speech in the lobby. He did not need everybody to suddenly become better people. He just kept doing the work. Mrs. Doyle got stronger. Marcus Hill started running stairs again. Jasmine Reed signed for another 6-month package. 2 new members requested Andre after hearing about him from people who had never missed a chance to tell others, "Go to the one who actually knows what he's doing." One evening, months later, Chloe caught him wiping down a bench after the late shift. "You know," she said, "he really thought the room would go with him." Andre tossed the towel into the bin. "I know. Why?" He looked out over the gym floor. The weights, the mirrors, the polished branding, the ordinary machinery of a place where results should have been enough and often weren't. "Because some people only believe in contracts when they think the contract protects them," he said, "not when it protects you from them." Chloe nodded slowly. That answer stayed with her. It stayed with other people too. Because the simplest version of the story was easy enough. A white gym manager accused a black trainer of poaching clients. The contracts were read aloud. The accusation collapsed. But the truer version was this. A black professional became too effective to minimize quietly. A white manager watched clients choose results over hierarchy and decided success must be theft. He tried to turn public accusation into public discipline, and then the paper came out, line by line, clause by clause, until the only thing left standing in the room was the truth. The clients had chosen. The contracts allowed it, and the man being accused had done nothing except his job, better than the people who wanted him smaller. That is what prejudice often looks like in workplaces. Not open slurs, not dramatic sabotage, just a polished accusation launched with confidence, hoping nobody checks the language closely enough to hear the lie, until the contracts are read aloud. And then suddenly everyone remembers exactly who was trying to steal what. If this story moved you, like the video, subscribe and stay close. There are more stories like this one waiting.